and welcome to Cheekyricho Cooking's carpet bag steak. We've got two really thick, large fillet steaks that are quite lean, and I've got 4 oysters here. Now I've actually frozen these oysters on a tray and they're quite solid. The reason I've done this, I'm going to cook this in a pan, then pop it into the oven. I want these oysters to be essentially raw and our steak to be medium. The best way I've found to do that is to freeze your oysters first, and that way you're not going to have a cooked chalky oyster in the center of a well-cooked steak. I'm going to be using the induction hot plate here. Put a pan on it, it's got a metal handle. It is capable of being placed into the oven. I'm going to pop in some butter, give it a gorgeous flavor, but it will burn. So we're also sending in some olive oil, and what that will do, it'll increase the heating point of the butter. While that's heating, and it won't take very long at that temperature, we're going to cut a thin pocket into our steak and slip in 2 oysters. So get your steak, cut a hole into the side of it, big enough without going right through to accept 2 oysters. Just pop your finger in there, make sure it's nice and wide enough. They're quite large oysters. Okay, just get one, slip it in that way, and the other one, and slip it in that way. Get a skewer and seal it if you want to make sure it's completely encased. And that's what you should have. And do the same thing with the other one. Okay, we just made our pocket there. Grab our oyster. It's really quite frozen and quite large, and just poke it into that hole. And because we've made it quite large, you can see my finger moving around in there. We can slip the other one in there beside it. Try and get the oysters around the same size if you can. And then you can feel them in there. There's one there and one there in the thickest part of the steak. Okay, now our oil and butter is just about smoking hot. We're going to put one steak in there, right over at the edge, and the other steak in there over this edge. Pretty well filling the entire pan. We're going to sprinkle it with some veggie salt and pepper before we turn it over, and then it's going into the oven. Okay, after a couple of minutes, we're just going to turn over our steak. It's not stuck at all, and it's ready to turn over. Look at the crust that we've got on that. Having it in a tight fitting pan will ensure that the crust goes to the edges as well. Freshly cracked pepper. Veggie salt. Use garlic salt if you like. Now into a 200-degree oven for about 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, we've just got some mashed kumara or sweet potato here. We're just going to add some freshly chopped green onions or spring onions to that, and that'll just cut through the sweetness of the sweet potato. It's creamy, it's just been mashed with butter, no milk or anything like that. So you're getting a nice burst of colour and flavour. Okay, just put that to one side. Okay, don't touch the handle of your fry pan because it's incredibly hot. 200 degrees, 7 minutes. It's quite springy. The oysters aren't cooked. We like to leave this to rest at least as long as it has cooked for. So I'll just leave it in the pan. Okay, we've got some red capsicum or bell peppers here that have just been sweated off with some onions and drizzled with some balsamic vinegar with some pepper. I've also got some apple and bacon cooked with some very, very finely shredded cabbage in a bit of butter. We're going to serve up our gorgeous carpet bag steaks now, starting with our creamy sweet potato mash. Now you could improve the presentation of this by piping it if you like, but I can tell you that the little green onions aren't going to let you pipe it too satisfactorily. Got some of our gorgeous, it's almost like a sauerkraut, but not, with apple and bacon. You could put a bit of apple cider vinegar in that if you like. Very hot. And then our slippery sweet onions and capsicums. Now our beautifully cooked steaks are going onto our plates. Look at that. And the juices that come out of that would be gorgeous for a gravy or a stock, or you could just drizzle a little over the top of your steak. And there you have it, Cheekyricho's carpet bag steak. It's been rested for about the same amount of time that it was cooked. Have a little taste, shall we? We'll just cut into our steak. All the juices should have relaxed back into the meat. Look how moist and juicy and tender that is. Oh, I can't wait. They're so tender, so tasty. And I normally wouldn't do this, but I'm going to show you what the oysters are like inside. See? Beautifully cooked. Smells amazing. Thanks for watching. I've just cut the other one and you can see the oyster, still quite raw. You're just poking its little head out. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Thanks for watching.